20 cities and 11 countries. Are you rich? On a guest list for an after party where Netspend was performing. So many cuties. Cheaper than you think. Popping pussy in Europe. Hello to my girls, gays, and theys. Welcome back to my channel. I recently went on exchange in Germany and traveled to 11 different countries. So in today's video, I'm gonna be answering your questions on how I funded it, some of my favorite memories, what the people were like, just everything. On my story, I asked people to ask me questions and people actually did, so I'm gonna be answering y'all's questions. I was fully ready to have to ask my own questions and just pretend, but I don't even have to do that. So shout out to every single one of you that asked me a question. I'm currently at work actually. If you've been here for a while, I filmed a video in this room last year in this same sweatshirt. It's cloudy, it's kind of cold, nobody wants to go swimming, so perfect. I can make a YouTube video while making money. Okay, let's get into it. First question was a question I got from like every single German that I met, and it was, why did you choose Germany of all places for exchange? I'm gonna take y'all back to the 5th grade. I had a student teacher in my class for one day and he said, "Sprechen Sie Deutsch?" And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. I'm gonna have a Duolingo obsession now. And I did, and I learned quite a bit of German at that time. It didn't really progress. It's not like I'm fluent or anything or even that good at German. But since then I was kind of like, wait, why do I kind of eat up this language? And also too, I feel like it really helped me pick up German down the line. I really ate up my German A1 class that I had to take. Everything was kind of easy after I knew the basics. I knew where to place the D, das, and der just because I had done that in the 5th grade. 5 years later, I'm in high school and this girl comes from Frankfurt to our school. This is the first kind of like foreign exchange student friend that I ever made. And yeah, I got really close with her and she was from Frankfurt. She had to leave early because of COVID. And after that, I kind of like got a little stalkerish and became obsessed with stalking her friends on Instagram, seeing what their lives were like living it up in Germany, because I feel like it just kind of opened my eyes to a whole nother world. So I was kind of like, wow, like people are really out here like living in Germany. Like that's crazy. During COVID, because I was trapped inside, I was watching all these exchange student videos. I was like, damn, she came here from Germany. I want to go to Germany now. Flash forward 5 years later and 10 years since I first learned my first German term, I'm in Germany. Because my school had an exchange program and I always thought that I wasn't going to be able to do exchange, that I wouldn't be able to afford it, but it's actually cheaper than you think. And we'll get into that. That's one of the reasons why I chose Germany. Number 2, there honestly wasn't that many options for us to choose from Europe-wise. I was interested in Australia, but I feel like I wanted to take advantage of going to a place where I didn't know the language while I had the support. And in Europe, there was only London, English, and expensive. But fuck nowhere Netherlands, no thank you. And Stuttgart, Germany. And Stuttgart was also perfect because it's smack dab in the middle of Germany. Everything is so close. 8 hours to Paris, 8 hours to Vienna, 8 hours to freaking Italy, you know? Or maybe not. 3 hours to Switzerland, you know what I mean? Okay, so that is exactly why I chose Stuttgart, Germany. Okay, next question. How did it feel being away from Toronto, and how did that negatively / positively impact your experience? To be honest, it was fine. I don't know, I feel like I had mentally prepared to go on exchange for so long, and because I was in Europe, I just didn't care about Toronto. Even when the going got tough, even when shit was lame, I was still out there popping pussy in Europe. So I don't know. I just didn't really care about what was happening over there. I feel like my exchange was low-key kind of really shit for like a whole 3 months, but I still didn't want to go home because I was like, I need this to get good before I go. Like I actually need to feel fulfilled before I go home, or like what the fuck was this, you know? So I didn't really care too much about going home ever. Also too, I've grown up going to camp for the summer or living away from home. So this kind of ties into my next question actually, which is how did you deal with homesickness? I'm so used to being away from home for so long that it didn't really matter. I will say though, the beginning of my exchange was the hardest. Oh my gosh, I felt so inadequate. Just so many things went wrong, one after another. It was actually horrible and I was so emotionally drained and I just wanted a hug from my mother, bro. That would have healed me. I wanted to go right back home and just jump into my mommy's arms because shit, like, woo, that shit was crazy. But I feel like dealing with homesickness when you're on exchange is just like, you know, call your family often, make your space homey and cute. Oh my gosh, changed my life. Once I finally put up my posters in my room, once my window was fixed, guys, I didn't have a freaking open window for 2 months because they took so long to fix it. But once I got my window, I saw the light. Like, it was good. What was your favorite spot you traveled to and why? 100% it was Paris. The second time I went, because we went during men's fashion week, and me being in my little feminism era, I was like, men's fashion week, what? girl, like, there were so many cuties, and that's not why I liked it, but I just liked the whole aura of it all. I felt like I could do anything. I was seeing celebrities on the street. These models came up to us and asked us to be their friends. They had been in the same rooms as Alex Consani and A$AP Rocky and all these really cool people. We didn't even have to do anything. They fully just came up to us. They showed us the showrooms, and I talked to a designer at a showroom. We got put on guest list for an after party where Netspend was performing, and we met some people who worked at Louis Vuitton outside. It was so cool, especially being somebody who wants to be in a creative industry. I felt on top of the world, bro. On top of the world in Paris. It's also just such a beautiful place, bro. And I think too, going back again after the first time, taking it back for myself was so empowering. Felt so good. That city's mine now. I don't give a fuck if you live there. Bum ass, man. Is Paris actually a cold and isolating city in terms of making new friends? Sorry for the weird question. This is not a weird question at all. Thank you for asking me a question. I haven't lived in Paris, so I don't think I could really answer that question. I don't know, if you're just like a happy, outgoing person, there's kind people everywhere you go. When I was in Paris, like I said, people were coming up to us, or we'd meet people at the club, just anywhere we went. Maybe it's because it was fashion week, so anybody that we met was actually from outside of Paris. But like I said, living in Paris, I can't answer that Q. What was your least favorite spot? My least favorite spot was Ibiza. I know, shocking. I had a whole Ibiza playlist that I had made before going to Europe, and I'd always listen to it. I'm like in the gym, and I don't want to hate on Ibiza. I think it was just the time that I went, because before I went to Germany, they told us to look up what you need for your visa. And when I went on the Canadian website, it's like, oh, are you staying for longer than 90 days? Yes, you don't need a visa. Stupid ass freaking website. I get there and I find out I do need a visa. And if I don't get one, I can't leave the country after 90 days or I won't be let back in. So if you're Canadian and you're going to Europe, get you a freaking visa, bro. Just get you a freaking visa if you're gonna stay there for longer than 90 days, okay? Don't listen to what the freaking German embassy website has to say. In the month of May, I was like, shit, like we gotta get hustling. I wanna see as many places as I can. And my friend from Toronto was going to Ibiza. She just moved to Berlin. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna go to Ibiza with you. And it was just like, not it. I mean, it was kind of cold and cloudy, which I feel like even though it's May and it's not summer yet, you would expect an island in Spain to be a little warmer. And like the clubs just weren't even that good. It was just filled with British people that don't know how to dance. But I think too, it was off season. I think if I went maybe a month later, it would have been really lit, you know? Lots of people, lots of partying, but it was just so lame. We went to Ushuaia, nobody was dancing. So I'm gonna be a hater. Just kidding. Maybe one day I'll go back and revive it. But until then, I really have no desire. Also, clubbing is clubbing anywhere you go. I can get lit and have just as much fun clubbing in Toronto as I can in Ibiza. Except, you know, Prague's a little different, but we'll get into that. Also too, a thing about Ibiza, the clubs are so expensive for what? You're gonna make me pay 50 euros to go into a sad ass club. That's $75 for a club, bro. Tips on filming for YouTube when on exchange. Just film. Just pull your camera and film. Does being in Europe make cigarettes hit harder? Yes, it does. It really freaking does, okay? My friend Lily went home from Europe for like a week in the middle of exchange, and she stopped smoking cigarettes because she went back to Toronto and she's like, I saw somebody smoking a cigarette and it just wasn't the same. And I really agree with her. I've had one cigarette since coming back from Europe. I came back just over a month ago now. They taste bad now. They're just not as aesthetic. It's just like not, it's just not the same. okay? Plus two, they roll their cigarettes there. I didn't expect it to be such a thing. Like everybody and their mom in Germany is rolling their little cigarettes. They got their little baggie, they got their little paper, and I'm over here being like, teach me how. I've gotten a couple good ones. I kind of want to go back to school and roll cigarettes. You know, everybody's vaping outside, and I'm like, yeah, I went to Europe. I roll my cigarettes. Go-to cigs. Camel, yellow Camel. It was Marlboro when I got there, and then I went to the Czech Republic, and I don't know why I started smoking yellow Camels and I never looked back. I feel like a yellow Camel would hit here too. They're just so good. Fave mode of transportation. U-Bahn. Oh my gosh. In Stuttgart, they had U-Bahns, okay, which are kind of like subway streetcar hybrids, okay? They run on their own track, but they mostly run above ground. But it's so great because the only thing they have to stop for is red lights, obviously, but they're not crowded by traffic. Toronto, get on. Like, get onto a friggin' U-Bahn system, okay? If you're from Ontario, you might know Hamilton, okay? And I would say that Stuttgart was kind of like the German Hamilton, you know, but a little bit more rich and clean. I feel like Hamilton's a little trashy, but I love it. It was still kind of like the same vibe, same amount of people, 600,000 people. It was kind of in the mountain bowl, whatever. Here we are with Stuttgart having about fucking like 50 different lines that you can take on this U-Bahn. In Hamilton, you got what, a bus? A bus? Even to like the trains, you can train out of Stuttgart and go anywhere. You can go to Amsterdam, you can go to Paris, you can go to Berlin, you can go to Italy, you can go freaking anywhere from this city with a population of 600,000 people. You can't do that in Canada, okay? So yeah, my favorite mode of transportation was U-Bahn, sure. Maybe plane, because it's fast and it's honestly way cheaper than taking a train most of the time. Trains are expensive. Best dish you ate. I ate a lot of dishes, but to be honest, I feel like I mostly had pasta. Like, I'm a pasta girl through and through. I would say maybe my favorite dish I had was Spätzle, Käsespätzle, which is like a cheese. It's like basically mac and cheese if they put Jesus in it, you know? Like, it's really good. I also really enjoyed some really good schnitzel and potato salad in Austria that I ate. I would say those were the best kind of cultural foods that I ate when I was there.
This is the best fucking kebab I've had.
Who's your favorite Egyptian? This has to be Kiro. I don't know. Where did you like to shop in Europe? To be honest, my go-to shopping place was the Urban Outfitters sale rack. Most of the clothes I bought in Europe was from the Urban Outfitters sale rack. I was always eating. The thrift stores were really bad, at least in Stuttgart. Like, they sucked, so I wasn't really thrifting in Stuttgart. Berlin, the thrifts, whoop, they ate. Same with Paris. You could find some like really good things in Paris as well. I also really loved Weekday, bro. Weekday is a European store and it just has so many Pinteresty, cool, asymmetrical clothes and basics. So I got a couple of things there. They didn't have it in Stuttgart, but they had it in Munich, Berlin, and Paris. And for my final question of this video, if you made it to this point in the video, bless you, thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment down below which country you would like to visit next on your bucket list if you made it here. How many places did you travel to and how did you get there? I went to about 20 cities and 11 countries, as I said. 2 of those are actually just kind of like, I was in Switzerland for 4 minutes and I drove through Slovenia, but I'm still counting them. Okay, how did I get there? Mostly by Flixbus, plane, or train. You know, the general modes of transportation. If you go to Europe on exchange or for whatever, Skyscanner will be your best friend. And Flixbus too. If you can go anywhere, 8-hour radius, even 12 hours, whatever you can kind of handle. Flixbus is so good. It's usually about like 50 to 60 euros per Flixbus if you book a couple days before, but if you book in advance, it's so much cheaper. Thing was, for me, I wasn't booking anything in advance because I was just always spontaneous with my trips, but you can get things for really cheap. Even flights. I would book flights 3 days before and they'd be like 70 euros, which is about maybe like 110 Canadian dollars, which isn't bad for a flight, you know? I booked my flight back from Malta to Zagreb maybe a week in advance, 20 euros. So, people asking me, is she rich? No, girl. I budget. Housing too. If you are gonna be staying with somebody, if you're staying with a friend, don't go to a hostel, go to a hotel and get yourself your own room with a bed. Because typically it costs just as much to split a room with somebody as it does to get a room in a hostel. Sometimes hostels can be really expensive. If you're going to somewhere like Budapest, stay in a hostel. That's like 20, 15 euros a night. It's crazy. But if you're going to like Spain, that's like 80 euros a night. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. I also had a lot of people being like, are you rich? Like, how are you doing that? No chat. I worked hella for this. See, I was lucky because typically a semester would start from January to April, but in Germany, it was from March to July. So after school ended, end of November, after first term, I was working 2 jobs, okay? I was a swim instructor in the morning, and I was working at McDonald's in the evening. All the time, work. And I literally just got those jobs for like the 2.5 months. Literally just lie, bro. Just lie. Just say you're gonna be there for a good long time and then did. Also too, y'all are sleeping on McDonald's, okay? Everybody wanna be like, oh, I'm unemployed, like I can't make money. Have you tried McDonald's, bro? Because you can sit here sleeping on McDonald's and still be unemployed 3 months down the line when you could have just made some money, you know? Don't fall into the same mistake I did, because I honestly wish I started working at McDonald's sooner. It's like, shit, like that's like the lowest of jobs. Girl, get over it. Like, you make some cash, some quick cash. And I was there for, no joke, a month and a half, and they still put me on like a leave of absence so I could come back whenever I wanted. Fortunately, I have this summer job as a lifeguard, which I'd also recommend y'all get your NLS and find you a sketchy lifeguarding company, because I make $200 a day, sometimes $400 a day, and that is how I funded my Europe trip. Also too, the exchange itself didn't cost anything. You literally just had to pay your school tuition fee, and that was it. Obviously, you have to pay for your own flight and housing, but I booked my flight to Stuttgart in advance. It was $400. From Canada to Germany, it was $400. That's insane. Get on this shit early, okay, if you're flying across the fucking globe, okay? Also, my accommodation was only 300 euros a month, which is about 500 Canadian dollars, and my rent in Toronto was $1,000. So basically, that extra $500 that I could have been spending on rent in Toronto, flights, hotels, plane, another plane, bus, club, you know?